Very good evening to everyone. My name is Rajdeep Sahu, and today we start one of the most important topic of your subject, that is Porter's approach to industry analysis, or you can say five force model, right? And this time, what I want to do is I can go slowly because this is one of the most important part in your subject. So at the same time, you can start writing and making note while I am discussing the things. So start with this Porter's analysis. That Porter's approach is also a type of external analysis. In our previous classes also what we discussed that related to internal analysis and SWOT and SWOC, PESTEL, right? So this is the type of approach given by Porter, which is mainly focused in the analysis of external outside of the company, right? And it is a framework that helps analyzing the level of competitions within a certain industry. So basically, this is a framework by Porter, Michael Porter, and it helps analyzing what the competition. Suppose there is an industry of a particular product or service. What are the competitions among them? That analysis can be analyzed by Michael Porter's five force model. It is especially useful when starting a new business or when entering to new industry sector. So basically हम जब भी कुछ नया कंपनी स्टार्ट करेंगे सो इससे हम तो ब्लाइंडली स्टार्ट नहीं करेंगे, उससे पहले हमको एनालिसिस करना पड़ेगा कि इस पे मेरा सस्टेनेबिलिटी क्या है, राइट? दैट हाउ कैन आई सर्वाइव एंड द प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डीलिंग विथ, what are the established market and my competitors are there in the market and how they are performing in the market. So you have to do A to Z completely analysis of their competitors business, right? So it's especially useful when starting a new business or when entering to new industry sector, because suppose you want to you are in a business or moving or switching to a new domain, then you have to idea about that what are the exactly that domain have the potential in the market, and those companies who are already dealing with this type of domain, how they are gaining and how they are generating revenue, how they are profitability, you have to analyze that part. Okay, so because of that part and because of this type of analysis of five force model analysis, one can easily identify that what are the possibilities of getting and success in that particular business, right? So according to this framework, competitiveness does not only come from competitors, rather than the state of competitions in an industry depends on five basic factors or five basic forces, right? So क्या वो forces है? First is threat of new entrants. Then second is bargaining power of suppliers. Third is bargaining power of buyers. Fourth is threat of substitutes product or service. And fifth is existing industry rivalry. As this is the five forces of Michael Porter's model, as well as there is a sixth one, that is power of complementary goods. Okay, so let us discuss the deeply according to this part. Okay, the collective strength of these forces determines the profit potential of an industry. Suppose there is an industry or you want to do the external analysis, the main area or the main focus is on the if I am applying this type of business or if I am starting this kind of business or this domain of business, then what is the profit potential? And if there is an asking of collective strength, means the collective strength means the complete five forces what we discussed just now, the threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of buyers, threat of substitutes, product or services, existing industry. These five forces of collective strength, if all these 5 points have this equal strength and highly strength, and then it determines the profit potential. What is the meaning of profit potential? अगर मैं कुछ बिजनेस में जा रहा हूँ तो इसमें कितना संभावना है कि यहाँ से मुझे मुनाफा मिल सकता है. What is the potential of this profit? If I am into any existing business of like into a new domain of business of cold drinks or soft drinks or fast food center, okay, there are many kind of business. Then what is the kind of profit potential in that particular business or to that particular industry? Thus, its attractiveness. Okay, if the five forces are intense, for example, airline industry. Okay, you can say if you can count there are how many airline industry have in the market, there are only few, and you can say almost no company in the industry earns attractive return. क्या लगता है आपको कि एक एयरलाइन इंडस्ट्री शुरू करना इजी है? If you start an industry on airline, is that possible or is that easy to maintain that industry in smoothly, or is that easy to gain or generating revenue from that kind of airline industry? Okay, if we can say there are Akasa Air or Vistara, okay, Spice Jet, okay, there are, you can say in within a count you can count that how many numbers of airline industries there. But in according to in each of these airline, whatever the market they have existing, how much you can say they are gaining profit? Is there any idea? Right? They have to manage their pilots, they have to manage cabin crew, they have to manage the flights, aeroplanes, they have to manufacturing, they have to the depends on the supplier, those who are providing the air company, Airbus or the flights or aeroplanes, right? What are the capacities? What will be the challenges if their companies, if there's within this aeroplane, if there is no customer is flying to one point to another point, then what is the point of view, right, of doing this type of industry? तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि establishing an airline industry is difficult. It means if it's a difficult, there may be a less chance of getting profit from that particular industry, right? And if the factors are mild, however, for example, soft drink industry, as comparatively to airline industry and soft drink industry, which one you can identify that gaining a profit or generating a revenue is easier? Because maintaining a soft drink brand or manufacturing or marketing R&D, all these things for a soft drink brand at as compared to airline industry, you can say the investment wise is low, marketing wise also it's quite friendly, and there is a particular customer because it's a comes under the FMCG goods, right? So that's why it's the moving part of the supply chain is also fast, and there is a huge customer for there in the market according to your base price that they have the customer and they can use if that particular product is good. So there is a high chance of getting profit in where, in FMCG or in a sub. But in case if you do the same company or same industry based on the airline, then there is a less chance of getting profitable, less chance of getting the maintenance, less chance of getting the maintenance part as well as the completely arrangement and marketing part. All these things are completely different, or it's highly difficult as compared to the sub drink part. And as well as see, you can see getting an airline industry. There are many airline industry are coming to the market, and within certain time of the period, they are again vanished. Right? According to me, that only Indigo is an airline who is in a profitable in the market, and you can say within the airline domain, this is one of the successful company right? Indigo is the one of the firm or one of the company in the airline industry which gaining the profitable. If you can see there is a success ratio is less, but in the soft drinks, if you can go, there is a success ratio is high because there is a less probability of getting uh, loss, or the generating of the revenue is quite easy. Or you can say the marketing part, R&D, the investment, all these things will be quite manageable as per the as per the power, or as per the pocket friendly. You can say the pocket friendly, right? So so if for a what if it go for the soft drink industry, there is a room for higher returns. If I'm investing something then in a building of a soft drink industry, then I can expect that getting a high amount of returns from my investment by establishing a business of soft drink is high. But as compared to the airline industry, it is low. You don't know if your airline will be working or it will be failed in the market. So it's a big thing. So right. So airline industry establishing an airline industry is not an easy task. Right. So five force model was actually created by whom? Michael Porter in 1979 to understand what how five key competitive forces are affecting on industry. क्या ऐसा पांच चीज है जो एक मार्केट में एक इंडस्ट्री में अफेक्ट करता है from the externally, right? And the five forces identified as the first one. We discussed the first one is threat of new entrants. What do you mean by threat? If we can say there is no explanation to do of the meaning of threat. As I know all you know about what's the meaning of threat. And the new entrants means suppose there is a company and another new entrant is coming to that particular same domain or same business. That means new entrants in an industry begins new capacity and desire to gain market share. Suppose there is a brand, okay, related to biscuit brand. Let us take as a biscuit brand. So they have some R&D, they have some manufacturing unit, and as Britannia is one of the oldest company, right? So the process of doing the manufacturing, the process of R&D, the process of marketing is also quite older because the company is actually is the older one. At the same time, suppose I am introducing my own brand with some advanced technology, advanced idea, then what is the chance of surviving the business of Britannia biscuit? Because I am coming with the market and introducing my brand in the market with the highly technological advance, right? So there is a threat to that particular company, and they have to they have some impact in the market because of my entering, because I am entering to the market with something innovative, something new concept, right? So that's why what happens, the old companies, those who have already established in the market, they have the brand value, but in the technology wise they are maybe not advanced. So for them it's a threat of new entrant, right? They have to again work on their business model. The seriousness of threat depends on the barriers to enter a certain industry, right? The higher these barriers to entry, the smaller the threat for existing players. The higher these barriers to entry, जितना हाई पोटेंशियल और हायर है संभावना की आपका एंट्री का, the smaller the threat for existing players, right? Okay, for example, let's take examples of barrier to entry are the need for economic upscale, high customer loyalty for existing brands, a large capital requirement, for example, large investment in marketing, R&D, the need for cumulative experience, or government policies, limited access to distribution channels. Okay, So this is the examples of barriers to entry or the need for economic sales or high customer loyalty for existing brands, large capital requirements. Okay. Hmm. So this is all about the new entrants or the threat of new entrant in the market. Clear? This is the one of the point what we discussed just now. Hmm. Let us move to the next is bargaining power of supplier. Okay. So what is the bargaining power? Bargaining means you can say we all do bargaining in our life, right? तुम मॉर्निंग में सब्जी खरीदने जाते हो तो बार्गेनिंग करते हो ना कि साथ में 10 रुपए का धनिया भी दे दो और इसका भाव इतना नहीं उतना कम कर दो. So this is the bargaining. And power of supplier means from who are the suppliers. Suppose I am a company and I am building something, I am manufacturing something, but the components which I am using in that manufacturing during the manufacturing, right? That's of parts, that components. I depends on some other companies, or I depends on some of the other manufacturers. Those who are for me, they are the suppliers because I am depending on them, right? These force analyze how much power and control a company's supplier, also known as market of inputs, has over the potential to raise its price or to reduce the quality of purchased good or service. For example, if you, I can give you an example. Let us, I am a owner of a car brand, and for a car brand or for manufacturing a car, there are many components are using in that manufacturing part in the duration of line. Okay, one by one in the assembly line, there are many components are using. Do you think each and every components are also manufactured by me only? By my company only? No, because at the same time, I am depending on some other companies, those who are experts of in building that components of cars. So I am depending on the other brands as the other components brand to manufacturing my brand. So if there is a changes, suppose the those whom with whom those who I am depending on that on the whom the component brands. Let us, for example, I am for a music system of my vehicle, I am depending on a Sony. Let us example I am giving. I am depending on the Samsung. I am depending on Sony. So somehow, if that Sony, the product, the service they are providing to the industry or providing to the market, the pricing is changes, or if the pricing is fluctuate. Suppose I am dealing per car, I giving you 5,000 for a music system to make it or to be combined or to be within in my car. So per car, I am dealing with that particular Samsung or Sony. Per car, I am dealing with 1,000. For example, if somehow in future that brand, that Sony brand, make the product's price is high, is that impact to my business? Yes or no? या फिर कल को अगर उन्होंने उन प्रोडक्ट का दाम घटा दिया या फिर कम कर दिया, also impact to my business. So if there is changes in another industry at whom I depended, according to price wise, according to marketing, according to R&D, according to the quality of product, anything of changes in that particular industry, indirectly or directly it is affected to my industry as well, right? So it is also plays the roles of what, which in turn should lower in industry's profitability potential. वो डिपेंड करेगा कि मेरा कंपनी कितना मुनाफा कमाएगा. Because if I am getting less profitability, right, I am doing my own things, I am doing all the things good, but whom I depends on that particular company, if that particular company is fluctuate, by financially या फिर by quantity या फिर by quality wise, then alternatively my company also affected. The concentration of supplier and the availability of substitute supplier are important factor in determining supplier power, right? The fewer these are, the more power they have. What it means? सपोज मैं जिसमें डिपेंड हूँ, जिस भी कंपनी पे डिपेंड हूँ, वहाँ पे उस डोमेन पे बिजनेस और उस डोमेन का इंडस्ट्री मार्केट में ज़्यादा है. If somehow I am getting the negative things, or if something that my business is affected from a particular uh, business or particular industry to whom I depended, right? And can I have the other options? If they have more options, अगर एक डोमेन में multiple businesses है, multiple companies they are dealing with the same product or service, then is that for me? Can I switching from one brand to another? So I have the option at that time. If there is a few option, then what will be happen? There may be a chance of getting the deal, or there may be a chance of getting the product what I want from them. But at the same time, if they have the large sector, large area, let us get a tire brand. For a car, I am using my tire, and for tire there are on the market there are variety of tire brands. If someone's deal I do and someone's deal I am not okay with that, can I? It's possible to switching to the another one, another company to whom I will deal for my brand's tire to मेरे गाड़ी में टायर लगाने के लिए या फिर डीलिंग करने के लिए उस टाइप का टायर डीलिंग के लिए मैं किसी दूसरे कंपनी पे डिपेंड हो सकता हूँ बिकॉज देयर आर ए लार्जर मार्केट. एक गया तो दूसरा, दूसरा गया तो तीसरा. But if they're fewer, if the market is fewer, then I have less chance of getting what I want to do in my particular company, right? So the fewer these are, the more power they have. But businesses are in a better position when they are multitude of suppliers. Source of supplier power also include the switching cost of companies in the industry, the presence of available substitutes, the strength of the distribution channel, the uniqueness of the level of differentiation in the product or service the supplier in delivery. Suppose I have wide range of options and I want to pick someone, those who are compatible to my brand and somehow I feel if they have profitable to the my company. So what are the things I have to do at the same time? And what are the things I will analyze for my company to that particular company? I can go for the what are the strength, how the distribution channel is high or well maintained, how unique level of differentiation in that product or service. Okay, how they are dealing with me and what are the R&D, what are the marketing strategy. Because somehow they, according to their roles, somehow I also impacted in my company. So source of suppliers power also include the switching cost of companies. अगर उनका pricing cost सही नहीं रहेगा, so it may be a chance of that I can move from one to another company doing the same dealing, right? So these factors are also affect, like switching cost of the companies in the industry, the presence of available substitute, strength of the distribution channel, uniqueness, R&D team, marketing level, differentiation of creating the product or service, okay, and how they are delivering the service. All these things are matter. For example, the bargaining power of suppliers in the airline industry can be considered as a very high. Why it is high? Because if I'm or planning to start a airline industry, then I have to purchase the airplanes. And in the market, there are only two companies who are manufacturing the aeroplanes. Okay, and what it means? I have very less options and those whom I have dependent on that, there may be a no wide range of uh, availability. There are many short, very less number of things are there, and I have to depend on both of them at the same time, or maybe I choose only one from the because I have only two options because in the market the aeroplane companies manufacturing are only two. When looking at the major inputs that airline companies need, we see that they are especially depends on fuel and aircrafts, right? So this is the example of what bargaining power of suppliers, right? Now coming to the next part, bargaining power of buyers. So it's just opposite to the supplier. You can see the bargaining power of buyer is also described as the market of outputs. This force analyze to what extent the customer are able to put the company under pressure, which also affect the customer sensitivity or to the price change. Suppose it's a customer, it's a buyer. Buyer means what? Buyer is a customer or it's a consumer, right? If a company is there and particular domain you can take any kind of topic or any kind of business, and with that particular business there are many brands available. So what it means, it reflects that consumer have variety of options, customer have variety of options to pick that particular product in the market. If there is a go for ghee in this to purchasing a ghee from the market, I have variety of options like Ashirwad, Surya Chandra, right? Govardhan ghee. Okay, variety of option is there, right? So if how sensitive they have doing in the market is based on and output comes from where? How depends on the customer's interest. This force analyzed to what extent the customer are able to put the company under pressure, which also affect the customer's sensitivity to price change. Suppose there is some price changes on that particular brand, then that consumer, some of the customers moving to ahead to the another brand. If taste wise or quality wise, again there is something, they again move to the third brand. So bargaining power of buyer is not always constant. It may be changes based on the product quality or based on the product price. The customers have lots of power who there are not many of them, and when the customers have many alternative to buy from, just what I am to just now I discussed that customer have many things, they have alternative, ये नहीं तो वो उठा लेंगे, अगर ये ब्रांड हमको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा तो दूसरा ब्रांड में स्विचिंग कर लेंगे, because they have options, they have market, and in the market for a particular domain, particular service or product, multiple brands are available in the market. So for the customer it's what for the customer it's a wide large range of large range of market or large range of options is there, and at that time everything's of their companies R&D, quality, quantity, price changes, sensitivity, it matters what attracts to customer to buy their product. Moreover, it should be easy for them to switch from one company to another. And buying power is also low, however, when customer purchase product is small amount. For example, let's say I'm going to a biryani. Suppose I am purchasing a biryani, and when I'm purchasing a biryani, I order one or two packet and ask the uh, owner of the restaurant to what is the price of the biryani. And the owner said that sir, biryani price is 150 rupees. And at the same time, what I'm doing as a customer, I'm bargaining the things that can you please make it 130 for the only one packet? Then what is the probability of that owner will be consider my things or make it 130 for a one packet biryani? नो, वो क्या बोलेगा? नहीं हो सकता भाई, आप कहीं और से ले जाइए। यस और नो? because you are purchasing only one. The quantity is less, and with less quantity, you also bargaining that of discounting of 20 rupees. You are asking them, you are telling them to make it 130 instead of 150 because you are purchasing only one biryani. But if there is a second scenario where I'm going to purchasing a biryani from a restaurant, and at that time there is a quantity is not only one, there is a huge, because you are taking biryani for your whole family and relatives, and you are ordering around 500 packets. Okay, so can you at the same time, if you can do the same thing or asking the same thing, can you make it some discount? Then what is the possibilities of getting discounts at the same time? Yeah, because the things you are purchasing from the restaurant is high, no? The quantity of biryani you purchasing from that restaurant is high. At that time, the owner can think that yes, I can give some discount because that particular customer is purchasing a huge amount, bulk amount of order is there. Okay, so that's the things is that buying power is low. However, when customer purchase product is small amount and act independently, and when the seller's product is very differently from out of competitors. अब नेक्स्ट टाइम अगर आपको घर में कुछ फंक्शन होगा तो आपके माइंड में क्या रहेगा अगर आई कैन गो फॉर 500 पैकेट्स इन फ्यूचर बिरयानी 500 पैकेट्स ऑफ बिरयानी इन फ्यूचर फॉर योर home or for your functions, then you have in your mind that is if I go for purchase of 500 packets biryani from that particular restaurant, then there is a high chance of getting the discount because previously in my past experience I do the same things and I get the discount of 20 rupees. So in my brain there is some branding of that particular restaurant is created, and for the second time third time rather than the other restaurants I will prefer to go that particular restaurant who give me the discount, right? सपोज कल को अगर कुछ दूसरे रेस्टोरेंट में चला गया और वहां पे मुझे डिस्काउंट नहीं मिला तो व्हाट आई विल डू दी आई विल स्विचिंग टू दी अदर रेस्टोरेंट, and at that time I will also find the what is the quantity, what is the quality of that food, what kind of pieces chicken pieces या फिर what kind of price they are served, what is the quantity, as well as the is that price is for me is pocket friendly, right? All these things matter. Okay, so somehow it will be create some of the uniqueness and make customer to attract to buy from that particular restaurant or particular firms. The customers have lots of power who there are not many of them, and when the customers have many alternatives to buy from, right? Because customers have alternate huge number of alternatives are there to buy a particular product. Moreover, it should be easy for them to switch from one company to another. यूं चुटकी में अगर उनको पसंद नहीं आया, कस्टमर सेटिस्फाइड नहीं है आपके प्रोडक्ट में, एक सेकंड टाइम नहीं लगेगा वो स्विचिंग फ्रॉम वन ब्रांड टू अनदर, वन कंपनी टू अनदर। जैसे कि हम बाइक खरीदने जाते हैं तो एक ही शोरूम पे जाके तो हम डिसाइड नहीं कर लेते, चार पांच शोरूम घूमते हैं, चार पांच कंपनी का गाड़ी देखते हैं, उसका रिव्यू लेते हैं, टेस्ट ड्राइव लेते हैं। जब बात खरीदने की आते हैं, क्या तुम हर एक शोरूम जहाँ जहाँ पे विजिट करते हो सब शोरूम से एक एक गाड़ी खरीदते हो? नहीं, एक कंपनी से एक व्हीकल खरीद लेते हो। व्हाई? डिपेंड्स ऑन देयर how tech depends on the technology, depends on the marketing staff's behavior, depends on the marketing style, according to they depends on the pricing set, pocket friendly, budgeting, all these things matter. And at the time, if any kind of dissatisfied came from company towards to the customer, then switching from one company to another company for purchasing a bike or purchasing a car, the decision will be changed within a fraction of second. Buying power is low, however, when customer purchase product is small amount, act independently, and when the seller's product is very differently from act any of the competitors. The internet has allowed customers to become more informed and therefore more empowered. Customers can easily compare prices online and get information about wide variety of products and get access to offers from other companies instantly. Let us say I'm buying a mobile phone, and mobile phone is a product which already available in offline market as well as the online market. और मैंने फोन खरीदने गया वहां पे क्या हुआ वो सबके पने का दिस phone's cost is around 20,000. But while I'm checking in online, it's showing 22,800. Then what will be I will go for? I will go for the offline store or online store. Because in online it's showing 22,800. At the same time in offline it's showing 24,000. So there is a huge price difference of 1,200. And at that time, what I can do? I will do the comparison from where I should go for to purchase a mobile phone. Because in a if suppose if I go for offline market and at the same time I'm browsing the Flipkart and see that product, that mobile phone which I'm going to buy is around showing around 20 to 800. What I do again, I move to other offline stores to compare the price thing, compare the price. If that same price range of that particular mobile I get from the other offline store or any particular offline store, then what I can go? I can purchase rather than waiting for 2 to 3 days of buying from the online, right? So customers can easily compare prices online and get information about a particular product of wide variety of product and get access to offers from other companies instantly, right? हम भाव करते हैं ना, अब जब भी हम मोबाइल देखने जाते हैं ओप्पो का देखते हैं, वीवो देखते हैं, सैमसंग देखते हैं, मोटो देखते हैं, कंपेयर करते हैं भाई इस फोन में ये फैसिलिटीज है, क्या ये वाला ब्रांड इतना बढ़िया कैमरा में फोटो खींच सकता है. So you are doing comparing, right? If we go for other things, right? The suppose I go for the atta and instead of tulsi atta I go for Ashirwad atta. Then what can do? The completely instantly the customers are repeatedly purchasing the Ashirwad atta instead of tulsi atta. Then what I can do? बेटा आपके कंपनी जो तुलसी आटा जो मेकर है जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, राइट, उसमें क्या कमी है? What the things are missing in the tulsi brand that Ashirwad have created, that they have the good customer acquisitions, right? So people are so smart, they can easily track and get information through online, and they can counter you that why these things are not available in new brand at the same price range, whereas the other brand, other companies have that particular things, right? Companies can take measures to reduce bad power by, for example, implementing loyalty program or by differentiating their product or service. Now, what Tulsi Atta is considering this part, that yes, we have to do this type of things because customer have need these things right now. And at the same time, Ashirwad Atta is also doing the same. That's why they have good customer numbers. So what Tulsi is also modifying their product, differentiating their product. It may be by doing this, it may be impact to the market and also gain some of the or you can say acquire some of the customer, right? So this is the bargaining power of what? Buyers. Now moving to the fourth part, threat of substitute product. Okay. So the existence of product outside of the domain of the common product boundaries increase the isolation of customers to switching to alternatives. Suppose I go for purchasing a laptop. How many number of brands are there? HP, Lenovo, Dell, right? As well as Other brands also there, MacBook. In order to discover these alternatives, one should look beyond similar products that are branded differently by competitors. If four of the branches I visit and at the end I pick from one laptop from a specific company, why? What matters? Instead, every product that serves a similar need for customers should be taken into account. Okay, so there is a substitute of product. कंपनी को डर रहता है कि कहीं ये बंदा या फिर कस्टमर दूसरे कंपनी में जंप ना कर ले। अगर जंप कर लेता हो तो आई हैव टू डू समथिंग इनोवेटिव इन माय प्रोडक्ट, आई हैव टू डू सम मॉडिफिकेशन, दैट्स व्हाई माय कस्टमर इज ऑलवेज टू बी माय कस्टमर ओनली। सो कंपनी को अपना डर रहता है और उसी ब्रांड they have dealing with that particular product or domain. At the same time, the company have also fear of that is that tomorrow a new company is not come in the market with the same thing, same technology, same product that which I am also dealing. जो चीज मैं बिजनेस कर रहा हूँ, जो मेरा प्रोडक्ट है, कल को कोई दूसरा कंपनी मेरी प्रोडक्ट का सब्स्टिट्यूट लेके तो मार्केट में नहीं आ जाएगा। अगर आ जाएगा तो क्या होगा? Some of the customer can move my company to that company also. So there is also one type of threat to the company of moving customer from your company to another of the new company or new substitute of the product. If there is a single product of your brand and there is no competitor, then you are the king of the market. But if some substitute will become, then what? A threat will be generated because the company will getting more focus at that time and more technology advanced at that time to make their customer with himself. Okay, so that's the concept of threat of substitute product. Then fifth one is rivalry among existing competitors. Okay, so this is the last force of Porter's five force examines how intense the current competition is in the marketplace, which is determined by the number of existing competitors and what each competitor is capable of doing. Right. So rivalry is high when there are a lot of competitors, okay, and that are roughly equal in size of and power. When the industry is growing slowly and consumer can easily switch to a competitor's offering for little cost. Right. A good indicator of competitor is the concentration ratio of an industry, and the lower the ratio, the more intense rivalry will probably. So that's the all about of rivalry among existing competitors. Okay, when rivalry is high, competitors are likely actively engage in advertising, pricing wars, which can hurt a business bottom line. In addition, rivalry will be more intensive when barriers to exit are high, forcing companies to remain in the industry even though profit margin are declined. Okay, so these barriers to exit can, for example, of long-term loan agreement or high fixed cost. Okay, these are some of the examples. So these all the are the few examples what we discuss and some of the few points of Michael Porter's five force model. And one by one, for example, by giving the example, I am explaining the things. And at the same time, I hope you do the notes from watching the concept, from watching the videos as well, right? And uh, I think, yeah. So this is what we discuss about the Michael Porter's five force model for doing what internal or external for the external analysis of the industry. Okay, at the same time, I want to show you something. Just a second. Yeah. When you do Google Porter's five force model, you get variety of images, and one of the images I picked from for you only here. So this is what the competitive rivalry and threat of new entity comes. So when the threat of new entity means time and cost of entry, specialist knowledge, economics of scale, cost advantages, technology protection, barrier to entry. Okay, that's the comes under the threat of new entry. Then you can say supplier power. Then what happens in the supplier power? Number of suppliers, size of suppliers, uniqueness of service, your ability to the substitute, cost of changes, threat of substitutions means substitute performance, cost of changes. Okay, and competitive rival में क्या आ जाएगा? Number of competitors, quality difference, other differences, switching cost, customer loyalty. As per the power buyer or buyer power, what happens? The number of customers, the size of each order, differences between competitors, price sensitivity, ability to substitute, cost of changing. So all this will be impact for by doing this kind of analysis. When we do, we can get that how your okay how your company or how is your competitor is good in the market, externally stable in the market, so that you can also start your business. So at the same time, I will give the links, okay, analyzing competitive forces within an industry. Or at the same time, you can read these things also, okay, so that you can, the things will be much clear. So that's all about the today's part. But we discuss about the Porter's five force model. In the coming section, we will again discuss the next part. Okay. So that's all about the video and that's all about the today class. Same time, make notes and we'll discuss the next chapters in the comment section. Till now, goodbye.